Hello children, welcome to all of you in my online chemistry class. In my previous lecture, you have studied about subatomic particles, that is electron, proton and neutron, how electron, proton, neutrons are discovered, you have seen there, and what are the main properties of these subatomic particles, and also about discharge tube or cathode ray tube. I hope you are understanding the facts very clearly and making notes properly. Without note, you can't be succeed. So must children prepare the note on the basis of given lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to study that is atomic model, that is Bohr's atomic model. Due to COVID, that is some basic models, that is Thomson atomic model and Rutherford atomic model has been reduced from your syllabus. So you have to study Bohr's atomic model, what is the advantages of Bohr's atomic model, and how Bohr's radius and Bohr's energy is calculated along with spectrum series. So let's start with Bohr's atomic model. Alright. So just we are going to discuss what is the postulates of Bohr atomic model, who is the discoverer of this model, and what is the main reason behind the discovery of this model. So children, before starting this model, I want to discuss with you some drawbacks laid by Rutherford. In Rutherford atomic model, one of the most important drawback was that model means Rutherford model was unable to explain the stability of atom or hydrogen like atom and also the spectrum of hydrogen atom. Means Rutherford model was not succeed to explain the stability of atom. That's why that model was cancelled and a new model was proposed by a Danish physicist and a Nobel laureate, Niels Bohr, in 1930. So, before going ahead about this model, I would like to discuss once again the main drawback of Rutherford's. So, children, as you are knowing, in the Rutherford atomic model, the assumption was that electron revolve in a circular orbits, and when electron will revolve in circular orbit, then there will be radiation of energy. There will be radiation of energy, and due to radiation of energy, the speed of the electron gets slowed down. That's why electron will come near to the nucleus, and once it can spiral or fall into the nucleus. As a result, the atom will collapse, which is not possible because in the basic assumption we have studied that atoms are indestructible. So, suppose this is representing nucleus and suppose this is electron. Okay, so this is suppose revolving around the nucleus. This is nucleus revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbits. Then, due to continuous rotation around the nucleus, it will radiate energy, and due to radiation of energy, the speed of the electron gets slowed down and it it will come near to the nucleus, and once it can spiral or fall down into the nucleus. So if it will fall down, then what happens? The existence of atom will collapse. But the postulate of Dalton is clearly stated that atom is indestructible. So that's why this model was cancelled, means the Ford model was cancelled, and this is the topmost drawback of the Ford atomic model. Am I clear, children? Once again I am repeating. Suppose this is a nucleus which is a positively charged, and as according to the assumption, electron revolve around the nucleus in a circular path. So when it will start revolution, then once it will come near the nucleus or closer to the nucleus due to the loss of energy, and if the energy will lost, it will spiral or fall down into the nucleus, and the existence of whole atom will collapse, which is impossible or not possible. That's why for the removal of this drawback, a Danish physicist Niels Bohr in 1930 proposed a model which was able to successfully explain the stability of atom or hydrogen-like atom, and that model was termed Bohr's atomic model. Some people say it Bohr. So children, use the word Bohr's is the proper. Okay? So I using the word Bohr, not Bohr, use the word Bohr is the name, called Bohr's atomic model. So what are the main postulates or statement of this model? So listen one by one. First postulate of Bohr atomic model is that an electron revolve around the nucleus in a certain stationary circular orbits. These orbits are called energy levels or cells. These orbits are called energy level or cells, and they are generally represented by n, having values 1, 2, 3, 4 and etc. They are also represented by letter K, L, M, N and etc. etc. Okay children? Means suppose this representing the nucleus, and according to the assumption, electron revolve around the nucleus in a certain stationary circular orbits. So the meaning of this statement is, suppose this is nucleus, so these are they are termed energy level or cells, are represented by either by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are representing the energy levels or cells. In other words, you can say they are represented also by K, by L, by M, by N, by O or by P. Means they are representing the cells or energy levels. Okay? This is the meaning of first postulate. Second postulate is what? While moving of electron in a particular energy level, it neither lose energy nor gains energy. Second statement or second postulate, when electron, while moving of electron in a particular energy level, electron can neither lose energy nor gains energy. Meaning of this statement is what? Suppose an electron is moving in fourth orbit, this one. Means when electron will move in fourth orbit, means definite orbit, so electron will neither lose nor gain energy. Alright? Similarly, suppose it is moving in first orbit, electron will neither gain nor lose energy. This is the meaning of second postulate. Alright? Third postulate is what? That is third postulate of that is your Bohr's atomic model is electron can move around the nucleus. Listen sincerely. Electron can move around the nucleus only in those orbits whose angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. This is very crucial postulate and the statement is very clear. Electron can move around the nucleus only in those circular orbits whose angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. Means angular momentum is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. This is the third postulate of Bohr model. So what is angular momentum? So mathematically you are knowing that angular momentum is represented by mvr and that is equal to nh upon 2 pi, where m represents the mass of electron, v represents the velocity of electron, r is the radius of electron, n is that number of cells or number of energy levels, h is a constant known as Planck's constant. This h is a constant known as Planck's constant, having value 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. Must remember the unit and numerical value of Planck constant. The value of Planck constant is 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, or you can write this value in CDS unit will be 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 27 erg second. Because you are knowing that 1 joule is just equals to 10 to the power 7 ergs. Am I right, students? So this is the numerical value of H termed Planck constant. I hope that you are also knowing angular momentum. Children, as linear momentum, you are knowing that linear momentum of a particle is represented by product of mass and velocity, means m into v. Similarly, angular momentum is represented by mvr, that is mvr. So from where mvr is coming, you are knowing that is actually angular momentum can be represented as that is I omega. Mathematically, angular momentum of a substance or particle can be represented by I into omega. So what is here I? So I refers to moment of inertia having mathematical value mr square. and omega stands for that is angular velocity. As in the case of linear velocity, we use term velocity generally. V stand for linear velocity. Similarly, this omega stand for angular velocity, and this angular velocity is what mathematically? That is omega is V by R. So student, if you solve it, this R will cancel out, and that is become m into V into R, and that is what? That is angular momentum of the particle. Moving particle means electron. Okay? So angular momentum is just integral multiple of nh upon 2 pi. This is a very important postulate, must remember. And next postulate of Bohr is, that is last postulate. So fourth and last postulate of Bohr atomic model is what? When electron jumps from one energy level to another energy level, then there is an emission or absorption of energy take place. Listen children carefully. The statement of this theory is, when electron jumps from one energy level to another energy level, then there is emission or absorption of energy take place. If electron jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, then there is a emission of energy take place. And when electron jumps from lower to higher energy level, then there is a absorption of energy take place. Let E1 represent the energy of lower, let E1 represent the lower energy level, and E2 represents the energy of higher energy level. Let the energy is represented as, suppose E1 representing the energy of lower energy level, while E2 representing the energy of higher energy level. Then the difference of energies, suppose that the difference of energy is written by delta E. So delta E will be E2 minus E1, and that is equal to h nu. Must remember children, this is the last postulate, and according to this postulate, once again I reminding, when electron jumps from one energy level to another energy level, there is a emission or absorption of energy take place. And when electron jumps from lower to higher energy, then energy is absorbed. And when electron jumps from higher to lower energy level, then energy is emitted. If E1 and E2 representing the energies of, that is lower and higher energy levels respectively, then the difference of energy between them is represented by delta E, and is equals to E2 minus E1 is just equal to h nu. And h nu is what? H nu is a quantum, means energy representation. H nu stand is a quanta. So question is coming, what is quanta? So children, quanta is what? Quanta is nothing. It is a method of representation of energies in the form of small packets. Means quanta is the representation or method of expressing the energies of small particles in packets is called quanta, whose numerical value is equal to h nu, where h stands for Planck constant and nu refers to frequency. Okay, one more point. The particles like proton. The particles like photon means the photon contains very small particles. The particles may be that is electron, proton, neutron. They may be neutrino, they may be meson, they may be polytron. So this is the meaning of photon. So photon means the particles like photon. The energy of particles like photon are represented in the term of quanta, and quanta is nothing. It is expressing the energy in the form of small packets, and its numerical value is h nu. So, according to the postulate, this value delta H equals to E2 minus E1 is h nu, where h is a Planck constant and nu is the frequency. And in the term of physics, you are knowing that frequency nu is equals to c by lambda. Mathematically, this frequency nu is equal to c upon lambda, where c is the speed of light. C refers to speed of light in a vacuum, speed of light, and lambda is what? That is the wavelength. So, and one more thing, speed, numerical value of speed of light c is 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Am I right, students? Numerical value, perhaps the numerical value of c, this one. So this expression may be written as, that is delta E is h nu, can be written as hc upon lambda. So this is the statement, fourth statement or fourth postulate of Bohr's atomic model. So learn properly all the postulates. They are very crucial for understanding the facts which are just we have to study in next part of the chapter. Alright. One more thing here, children. Some radius of hydrogen like atom or hydrogen atoms or energy of hydrogen or hydrogen like atoms are calculated by a certain formula used by Bohr. They are generally called Bohr's radius and Bohr's energy. So what is the formula for calculation of Bohr's radius and what is the formula for calculating the Bohr's energy? Just I going to express. So Bohr's radius can be represented by formula. Bohr's radius R is equals to n square h square 4 pi square m e square z. Must remember formula for finding the Bohr's radius is what? N square h square divided by 4 pi square m e square z, where n represents the energy level or cell. Listen carefully. N represents the energy level or cell. H represents the Planck constant. Pi is also constant having value 22 by 7 or 3.14. M is the mass of electron. E is the charge of electron, and Z is the atomic number of constant atom. If you are taking hydrogen, then the value of Z means atomic number of hydrogen will be 1. So Z refers to atomic number. Alright? So in this formula, children, you are seeing that this H, pi, m, e, they all are constant. They all are constants and having fixed their numerical values. So this formula may be stated as R proportional to n square by z. Means keeping these things constant, which I have just circled. Then the Bohr's radius is just proportional to, that is, energy levels or cells and atomic number Z. If atomic number you are putting 1 for hydrogen, then it just becomes equal to R proportional to n square. and if putting the value of H, pi, M, E and Z, then you get the numerical value just equal to 0.529 n square by Z angstrom. So this will come the numerical value by putting the numerical constant in the formula. Means you have to put H is, the value of H Planck constant will be 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 27 arc-second. Similarly, the value of pi will be 3.14. Value of M means mass of electron will be 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 28 gram. And charge of electron will be what? That is charge of electron in ESU unit is 4.8 into 10 to the power minus 10 ESU. And as you are knowing, the charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So this is the unit in the MKS system, and just we are using here series system. So the value of electron charge will equal to 4.8 into 10 to the power minus 10 ESU. ESU stand for electrostatic unit. Okay, and one more point, E then Z. Z is what? That is atomic number. And for hydrogen atom, the value of Z is 1. So its numerical value on putting these in this formula, you will get that is 0.529 n square, and that will in angstrom. And you are also know that 1 angstrom is what? That is 10 to the minus 10 meter. Okay. So by putting these values, you are simply finding the Bohr's radius. Similarly, Bohr's energy can be evaluated by using the formula, that is En. Suppose En is representing the Bohr's energy. So En is mathematically minus 2 pi square m e to the power 4 z square divided by n square h square. Children must remember this numerical value, that is En is equals to minus 2 pi square m z square e to the power 4 n square h square, and the quantities which are present here, pi is once again constant having value 3.14, m stands for mass of the electron, E the charge of electron, Z is the atomic number, N is the number of cells or number of energy level, and H is the Planck constant. So once again, putting the numerical values of these, you will get that is the value will come, numerical value will come minus 13.6 by n square, and that will come in electron volt. So by putting the numerical value of pi, m, e, z and h, we are getting here a simplest numerical value, that is minus 13.6 by n square electron volt. EV stands for electron volt, which is the unit of energy. So children, by using these formulas, you can easily find that Bohr's radius and energy, Bohr's energy. So must remember this formula and do numericals based on the Bohr's atomic model as well as Bohr's radius and Bohr's energy. So children, as you are knowing, you are heading towards your unit test first. So time is come to do some fast batting according to the requirement. Means when slag overs start, then fast batting is required, and batting should be done in the style of hitman. Means batting should be done in hitman style, and meaning behind this is that we have to go some fast to achieve the target. That is the meaning of slag hours, means time is running and we have to utilize our time, means we have to need much fast batting is required in the term of Hitman style to achieve the target. So students, must remember them, and in next part of the lecture I will discuss, that is spectrum related to this model and some series like what is Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series, Pond and Bracket series. So that will discuss in my upcoming lectures. So till then students, just I am going to finish the lecture. So that's all today. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.